Sometimes it's not what artists say on stage that changes everything. It's what happens when the cameras stop rolling. For Il Volo, one private conversation caught off camera revealed more than fans ever expected. It wasn't scripted, it wasn't rehearsed, it was real emotion, honesty, and a truth that would shift how people saw them forever. Stay with me until the end because what they said behind the scenes will make you see Il Volo in a whole new light. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here and love Il Volo, their music, their bond, and their unforgettable moments, you're in the right place. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell because we're diving deep into the stories the cameras almost missed. The truth is, Il Volo has always been more than just three voices. They're three souls tied together by years of friendship, success, and struggle. But behind their incredible harmonies and charming smiles, there are moments of pressure, vulnerability, and real emotion. During one of their tour stops, after an exhausting show, the cameras were turned off, but a backstage mic caught a candid conversation that showed the world just how human they really are. They talked about the toll fame had taken on them, how constant travel, interviews, and perfection had started to feel like a weight. One of them admitted he sometimes missed the simplicity of their early days, when music was just about joy and not expectation. Another confessed he was afraid of losing himself in the image the world expected him to keep. What struck fans most when that moment surfaced later wasn't drama, it was sincerity. It was a reminder that even superstars like Il Volo have hearts that bruise and dreams that bend under pressure. But then, something beautiful happened. Instead of breaking them apart, that moment of truth brought them closer together. They promised each other that no matter how big they got, they'd never forget why they started, the love of music, the unity of friendship, and the connection with fans that keeps them grounded. That simple, heartfelt conversation changed the energy of the group. You could feel it in their next performance, the emotion, the closeness, the renewed purpose. And that's not where the story ends, because after that emotional off-camera moment, Il Volo made a decision, one that would reshape their music, their relationship, and their journey as artists. In part 2, we'll dive into how that decision changed the course of their careers and how it brought them even closer to their fans. Stay tuned, because what happened next didn't just change Il Volo, it reignited everything they stand for. After that off-camera moment, something shifted within Il Volo, not just as a group, but as three men who had spent years growing up under the spotlight. That raw conversation they had, full of honesty and emotion, didn't stay hidden for long. It became the foundation for a change that fans would soon notice, in their music, their energy, and even in how they spoke to their audience. Welcome back to the channel. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next part of Il Volo's journey, because what came after that moment proved that vulnerability can sometimes lead to greatness. After that night, Il Volo began to look at their art differently. They realized that the heart of their music had always been emotion, not perfection. And so they decided to strip back the filters, to sing not just for beauty, but for truth. The next songs they recorded carried a deeper weight. You could hear it in every lyric, every harmony, a kind of emotional honesty that came straight from their personal struggles and reflections. They started opening up more in interviews too, no longer hiding behind the polished image of success. Instead, they began to share their fears, their growth, and their gratitude for fans who had stood by them through everything. That honesty didn't weaken them, it made them stronger. It made their fans love them even more, because now, Il Volo wasn't just a trio of talented singers, they were real. During rehearsals and tours, the group's bond grew tighter. There was laughter again, the kind of laughter that comes after pain, when you've survived something together. They rediscovered the joy that had first brought them together as teenagers, singing not because they had to, but because they wanted to. Their performances started to carry that same warmth again, not just perfect notes, but real emotion that radiated through every concert hall. and fans noticed. Many said it felt like Il Volo had been reborn, their sound fuller, their connection deeper, their performances more alive than ever before. That off-camera confession had reminded them who they truly were, and it showed. But there's still one more twist to this story, because what Il Volo did next took everyone by surprise. They made a bold decision that proved they weren't afraid to evolve, even if it meant breaking old patterns and redefining their future. And that's what we'll uncover in Part 3, the daring move Il Volo made after that emotional moment, and how it changed not just their music, but the way the world saw them. Stay tuned, because the next chapter of Il Volo's story will show just how powerful honesty can be when it turns into inspiration. When Il Volo walked away from that emotional backstage conversation, they didn't just walk away with a new perspective, they walked away with courage. That night lit a fire in them, and soon after, they made a bold decision that would change everything. It wasn't about fame or image anymore, it was about truth, growth, and reconnecting with the reason they fell in love with music in the first place. Welcome back to the channel. If you've been following this journey, you know this story isn't just about Il Volo's voices, it's about their hearts. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss how this story unfolds, because what comes next is where everything changes. After that off-camera moment of honesty, Il Volo decided to take a risk, to step outside of the polished perfection their management and the industry often demanded. They wanted their next project to feel different. No overproduction, no image strategy, just pure, raw emotion. They agreed that their next album would reflect who they truly were, 3 artists growing, healing, and rediscovering the meaning of their music. That decision surprised everyone around them. Some thought it was too risky. After all, Il Volo had built a reputation on grand symphonic arrangements and flawless vocals, but the trio knew that sometimes imperfection tells the most human story. They wanted to create something that spoke directly to the listener's heart, not just their ears. When they entered the studio, the energy was different. The laughter, the warmth, the chemistry, it was all back. The songs they recorded weren't just beautiful, they were real. You could hear the vulnerability in Piero's tone, the reflection in Ignazio's delivery, and the sincerity in Gianluca's voice. This wasn't just Il Volo performing, this was Il Volo feeling. Fans immediately sensed the change. The music sounded more personal, more intimate, almost like the trio was letting the world peek into their souls. They began speaking openly during interviews about what they had learned, that even after years of fame, staying true to who you are matters more than maintaining an image. That honesty resonated deeply, earning them even greater respect and love from their audience. But this new beginning didn't just transform their music, it changed the way they saw their future. Because after finding their truth, Il Volo realized something even bigger, that their connection with fans wasn't built on perfection, but on emotion. And in Part 4, we'll uncover how this transformation led Il Volo to their most powerful performances yet, shows where the line between artist and audience disappeared, leaving only music, love, and humanity. Stay tuned, because the most emotional and unforgettable chapter of Il Volo's story is still to come. When the lights dimmed and the first notes began, something magical happened. Il Volo wasn't just performing anymore, they were connecting. Every lyric, every breath, every gaze they shared with the audience carried the weight of everything they had learned about honesty, love, loss, and rebirth. That night, the crowd wasn't watching artists on a stage. They were witnessing men who had rediscovered what music truly means. Gianluca's voice trembled with emotion, Ignazio's energy reached out like a wave, and Piero's strength anchored it all with the kind of depth that only comes from experience. You could hear silence between notes, the kind of silence filled with awe, tears, and unity. Fans described the concert as spiritual, healing, and like falling in love all over again. Many said it felt as though Il Volo was singing directly to their hearts, reminding them that vulnerability is not weakness, but beauty in its purest form. The trio had come full circle, from global fame to rediscovering themselves, and now to giving the world something even greater, truth through music. Backstage after that performance, they didn't need words. They just looked at each other and smiled. That shared silence said it all. They had done more than sing. They had healed. Not just themselves, but the thousands who had come to listen, and the millions watching from afar. This was the moment that defined Il Volo forever. The realization that their greatest power wasn't just their voices, but the emotion behind them. They had found the secret that every artist searches for, to make people feel. And that's what Il Volo continues to do, with every song, every note, every heart they touch. Thank you for watching this journey with us. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and share your favorite Il Volo moment below. Because their story isn't over, and neither is the emotion they bring to the world. In our next video, we'll explore the most unforgettable Il Volo performances that changed music forever. You won't want to miss it. Stay tuned, because this is just the beginning of something beautiful. Musical notes, Dizzy.